Grim. I have cans to drink and Rob has couches to buy.
That plus, is my mic not working? Unbelievable. 1 second. Mic isn't working. Fill some airtime there, Sean. I'll fix it.
Yeah, so Rob has to go to IKEA and do adult stuff for his house, which he recently moved into. I will be partaking in some drinking and watching
Yes.
Dundalk in the FAI Cup quarterfinal.
Brilliant.
That's what
Yeah, and I think my mic is back now. So intro is all done. You
Yeah.
know what I was talking about. Big card this weekend.
Insert
Kind of
intro
big card.
here.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's jump into it. If there's any questions in the chat, we'll get to them first. If not, we will, let's jump straight into the Conor stuff. So this Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier thing has been looming over us for a while, and I feel like we kind of spoke about it already. So every time it comes up, I'm like, what angle do we take? We already spoke about the fight. We spoke about who we thought would win. We can get a little bit into that, but I was reading an article on The Athletic this week, and they actually have questions posed to all the journalists and they answer them. So we have some set questions, Sean. So nice. I'm going to throw them at you. So the first question is, again, we're stealing this from The Athletic, but not stealing their answers.
Yeah.
Is who has more to gain and lose at UFC 257 Conor McGregor or Dustin Poirier? I'll throw that to you first, Sean.
I think that's a good one actually. I think Conor has more to lose here. Regards who has more to gain. I think Dustin has a hell of a lot to gain. I think really Conor has a lot to gain here as well. Because his last fight was, I think both have quite a lot to gain. I don't know who has more maybe, but I mean Conor has a lot to gain as in he's fighting a respected, legitimate contender. His last fight was against Cowboy. I mean it was as close to a warm-up fight as you can get in MMA. Dustin's coming off a win against Dan Hooker, isn't he? That was his last fight.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm right.
I think so. Let me just check.
So yeah, Dustin can put himself back in title contention, which is what he wants. Conor can fight a legit contender after 55 at the weight. I think Conor has a hell of a lot to gain here as well.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think Conor has probably a little bit more to lose, although he is a bit Teflon, isn't he? Like when he loses fights, most of the time it doesn't matter. He just kind of moves on with his life. But I still think he has a lot more to lose. Even though I can see the argument that when Dustin lost to Conor the first time, he kind of really fell down the pecking order at featherweight, like immediately, partially because of the way the finish itself, how it happened. It was fairly decisive, fairly quick. But also because I think Conor at the time, while a lot of people believed in him, I think a lot of people still thought, this guy is we're just waiting for him to come against someone good enough to beat him. So there was still a little bit of like kind of reservations about Conor. But now Conor, we obviously know how good he is. So I don't think it's the same. I don't think a loss to Conor at this point really hurt you that much. So I do think, Conor has more to lose. And I'd probably agree with you. I'd say Poirier probably does have more to gain from this one. Like a winner over Conor, regardless of where he is in his career, that's big. That's big. And on both sides, we spoke about this before. It's good to see Conor actually come back and fight somebody of consequence.
Not Diego Sanchez. Like
exactly, Like it means something. It means something. I did see something else as well. This actually isn't in the article, but did I read that Dana was talking about potentially having fans at this?
Maybe. I didn't read that now, but as far as I know, from boxing, the only states really that are allowing fans in, Texas is allowing some in, so unless they go to Texas. Although January, like you're talking about vaccines now as well. I mean, the UK are looking at rolling out a vaccine this month, so who knows? Yeah.
From what I saw, I could be wrong. We'll jump into your questions, and again, sorry for being on mute at the start. But from what I saw, I thought they said maybe it was going to be Fight Island, and then somehow they're going to like bring over like fans, a certain amount of fans. But that makes me think that this is partially why they wanted a January date. At least they'd have time. If they wanted to do something with fans, they'd have a little bit more time to get to there. Although we're nearly there already, to be fair. We're not that far off.
If he's talking Fight Island, then that stinks of getting rich Arabs. Like, probably not even pay money. Probably just invite them in because they're paying for the fucking event. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah. We'll jump into that question at the top from David Power in a minute. I wanted to stick on the Conor stuff if we can. So, John C. at the bottom there asked, what do you think of the opening odds for Conor versus Poirier? Let me see if I can get them. I'm sure Sean has them there handy.
I have a few thoughts on this one actually, because we've kind of, Rob's very into betting now these days. So we've kind of discussed this. When the rumors of this rematch first came about, I think Dustin Poirier was available at 9-4. I thought that was a cracking price now, to be honest.
Yeah. When you said it to me, I can't remember if that's what it was. And I might be able to check that actually, because you can get it on Best Fight Odds. But
see, it was before the fight was officially announced.
Yeah, but that is huge though.
Yeah, I thought that was a cracking price. We've pretty much made our picks, I think, on this fight already.
Yeah.
I'm picking Dustin. That was partially motivated by that 9-4 price. The odds now that the fight has been announced are quite interesting. There's been a bit of a move on Dustin into 6-4, 7-4, which I think is probably fair. When you look at, I think 9-4 on Dustin, was, like you said to me earlier, was very generous on Conor. For a guy who hasn't fought at lightweight in quite a while now. And there's enough question marks on Conor to look at backing against him. I think the odds now, you're getting Conor around 1-2, Dustin 6-4. I think they're fair. I'm okay with them. They're fair to me.
Yeah, look, I think the odds that you showed me today, them ones, I think they're just about right. I still think that, I think they're just about right. And I favour Conor anyway. But I know for the people who do favour Poirier and maybe favour him big, I think that's a nice price for them. But
Yeah,
I think
6-4 I think is as low as I will go.
Yeah.
If I could get the 7-4, I'll take some of the 7-4. I'm annoyed now I didn't take any of the 9-4 because the fight hadn't been officially announced yet. But yeah, 6-4 is probably as low as I will go on that one.
Yeah. I'd probably be the same, but I wouldn't be backing just because I am picking Conor. But I do like the price. Should we expect a much different fight from their first bout in 2014? We kind of spoke about this before. I think so. I think
Yeah.
it'd be very, very different. I think Conor's going to win the fight, and that's not being biased. I just think he's going to win the fight. But I don't see it being the exact same. I actually see it being very different. Maybe even a decision, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, if the first fight may as well not have happened, to be honest, because they're two totally different people, two totally different fighters. They've both evolved so much. That fight was at 45. They were both babies in terms of their careers, really.
Yeah.
UFC, they've both gone on to do bigger and better things since. Yeah, I think you can almost disregard. It's good for the story, that first fight, but you can almost disregard it in terms of how the first fight or this rematch is going to play out, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. Get your questions in. As we said, we're going for about an hour today because we have shit to do. I have to go to IKEA. I don't know if that got picked up on the mic last time.
What have you to buy?
I have to return something. We got a fucking lamp and it came with the plug broken. So the thing off the plug was broken. And then we tried to actually set it up just to see if it was going to be all right. So we could just replace and get a new one. Because it didn't quite look like what we thought it looked like on the picture.
Classic.
And then the hole that it stuck into was like not lined up correctly, so you couldn't even screw it in. Like, IKEA. Where's the quality control?
Yeah.
Wankers. What does this fight mean for Khabib Nurmagomedov, if anything?
This is quite interesting because Dana has obviously been pushing the narrative that Khabib's going to come back. He hasn't stripped him, and to be fair, Khabib hasn't left the USADA testing pool.
That's true.
But Bloody Elbow were reporting today that Khabib was giving a talk to some youngsters in Dagestan today, and he said that he's no intention of returning to the cage. So there's obviously a little game, fucking, I don't know, a pissing contest here going on of some sorts. So, yeah. What does it mean for... Yeah, look, I mean, if Conor wins, that's the fight they're going to want to do, isn't it?
Yeah. I also seen that apparently there's no title on the line for this, which I could understand them saying now, and I know Dana White said, yeah, there's got to be no title. But...
that can change quickly.
Yeah, I find it difficult to believe that, to be honest, because we have, about 2 months, maybe a little bit less, by the time it comes around. If Khabib does stick to his guns, like, I'd be very surprised if there wasn't at least an interim belt put onto this one.
Yeah.
At least an interim belt. So I guess that is consequential. The more Khabib is saying that he is retired, the more I'm kind of believing it again. Like, we'll see what happens. But I think that's probably the biggest consequence. I think if he stays away and he doesn't come back and he hasn't made a decision, or at least he hasn't made a decision that Dana White wants, come back and fight, I see an interim belt going onto this one, which will have a bit of an effect, I guess.
I'm pretty much the same. I find it very hard to see them not being, at the very least, an interim belt on the line.
Yeah.
Very hard. Like, I can't see Conor making 55 for nothing.
Yeah.
For a contender fight.
Yeah, no, either can I. Let's quickly talk about these questions and talk about the card as well, because I don't want to go too long on the Conor stuff. There was a question about Jose Formiga from David Power. What do you think about the UFC cutting Formiga? Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, because it seems like the UFC are going out of their way to neuter the flyweights. Now, I know he's on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's always been competitive in that division, and the guys he lost to, Joseph Benavidez just fought for a belt. Brandon Moreno, who a lot of people are arguing should be fighting for a belt this weekend, and then Alex Perez, who is fighting for the belt this weekend. He's a good guy, he's a good fighter. I'm not sure how much money he was making, but maybe that plays into it. If he was on a decent-ish contract, they can just...
I think money is the whole...
They can just sub him in with someone from the Contender Series or something.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see him stay in the UFC, but, you know, it is what it is. To be fair, though, a 3-fight losing streak is usually leads to a release. I will say that. I'll give the UFC that credit. Like, it's not it's not crazy that someone like Formiga, even though he's like a former title contender, he's on a 3-fight losing streak, so you can see why they did it in a way, you know.
This one's all money for me. I said to you back in June, July, if you look at some of the cards that were going on in Fight Island, I think it was the Apex at the time, actually. It was the first run at the Apex. I said to you, have a look at this card, and I reckon the vast majority of guys were 12 and 12 contract guys. I said that was one hell of a cheap card to put on.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing now, as in the UFC are probably going to start cutting a lot of guys who aren't going to win a title. They had, to be fair, you're right, they had a good excuse with Formiga, 3-fight losing streak. You can't really have any arguments.
Yeah.
But I don't think it helped that he was on probably a healthy enough contract as well.
Yeah, he's been with the company for a while, so you'd imagine his contract was like not a rolling contract, but you know, one that increased every time.
Yeah, it was an escalating contract.
Or at least he won. There's Keenan TV. He dropped in. I don't know if you've seen it, Sean. I done the live chat for MMA on Point. They asked me to help out because Tom was sick. Just reminded me because Keenan jumped in and was giving us some plaudits. Legend. Is there any way we can make MMA judges accountable? Thinking the judge who scored Felder 48-47, that was insane.
That's honestly one of the wildest judging inaccuracies that I've ever seen.
Yeah,
with the score in that fight.
Yeah,
there was one round max that you could give, even arguably.
And you backed Felder as well, so you were you wanted him to win, and you still can't find rounds from him.
I said to you at one point through the fight, I was like, I have a few pennies on Felder here, and I can't give him anything here.
Yeah, ridiculous. But is there a way to make them more accountable? He mentioned open scoring. I don't know if that even makes them accountable because their scores are in the public domain anyway after the fight. So that should, they're not gonna have a bad scorecard in the middle of a fight and then someone come over to them and say, "Here, fix that. You're bleeding shy." You know,
the thing with open scoring, the only thing it does is it makes the fighters aware that a judge is potentially gonna, fuck them over. Yeah,
I don't like open scoring for that reason.
Yeah, it's not something I would be mad for. I think just questioning judges and asking them, right, sit down. Like a commission comes in and says, right, we're going to sit down, we're going to watch this fight, and you're going to explain to me why you scored this 48-47 to Felder.
Yeah.
And
exactly, that's the thing.
If his reasoning isn't good enough, he doesn't judge again, or he goes on a course where he learns how to fucking judge a fight.
Exactly. You treat it like any other job.
Yeah.
You made a complete arse of that job. Why did you do it? Give me your reasoning, and then if we think you need to be penalised, I don't know, but retrained, as you said, then go do it. I think that's the only way. Even if Khabib comes back, this is from John C. Even if Khabib comes back for a fight, would it even be for a 55 contender? I feel like Dana White should put an interim belt up sooner rather than later. I think he means would it not be like a fight versus GSP or something in a different weight class, I guess. The weird one is I don't see him coming back to fight Conor. We spoke about that. I don't see it. And I've seen a lot of people say, maybe Conor would get Khabib to come back because, they hate each other and it's a big fight. And I just don't think Khabib has any interest in that. The only fight that I see him come back for is GSP because he said it.
I agree. I think Conor can posture all he wants for that Khabib rematch. He can put out all the shit he wants on Instagram saying, I did X and Y, didn't have the camp. Khabib, in his eyes, beat him in the first fight fair and square. Why should I rematch? I don't want to give you the payday. I don't think you deserve a rematch, is his thinking. So I can't see that rematch ever coming about, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. Like the video if you can and do all that stuff. Be handy. I want to jump into this card this weekend because I think there's some interesting fights in it and I think there's plenty of discussion to be had. Question about the video essays. I do need to do more of them. They will come back eventually. Just got to get some inspiration. So yeah, this card this weekend, Sean, UFC 255, headlined by some flyweights, co-headlined and headlined by some flyweights in both divisions, the male and female divisions. On the top, you have Deiveson Figueiredo against Alex Perez, the first contender series fighter to fight for a UFC championship. And then below that, you have Valentina Shevchenko against Jennifer Maia in a fight that is, it's such a big favourite against an underdog. It's unbelievable, but we'll get into that now in a minute. I seen this discussion about who should be headlining this event. Do you agree with the order, or do you think that Valentina should be headliner?
I don't have an opinion on it.
No.
Figueiredo is probably a bigger draw.
I don't think either.
It's much of a muchness, really.
I'd probably argue that Valentina will be a slightly bigger draw, but I also think most of her fame is within the MMA community. I don't think it kind of ranges out. The buzz around this card, do you feel it? Because I don't.
No, not at all. I actually. So funny enough, we were talking about this yesterday. You were like, you messaged me and saying outlining topics, and I think the message was like UFC 255, Conor Dustin, and then I messaged you back and I said, yeah, we'll do a small bit on the card as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I just forgot this card was.
Yeah.
I forgot this was a pay per view. I think I thought that like 255 was in 2 weeks or something, because it's just, it doesn't feel like a pay per view week. And it's not a great card. I mean,
it's not the best card.
Yeah, Valentina's phenomenal. I mean, I've never seen. She's the biggest favorite I've ever seen in MMA. I don't know about you. She's currently sitting at 1-20.
Yeah, she's quite a big favorite. Like, that's ridiculous. Insane.
And like the thing is, I don't think she'd be beat, but I actually can't put you off back in Jennifer Maia just because that price,
yeah,
2 race in MMA is so insane.
Yeah, she's not gonna win, but
no,
you never know.
Yeah, you don't.
Like, for that price, you never know. But yeah, I kind of the thing about the buzz in this one, and this was a question that came up on the live chat that I done with the lads. They asked why is there no buzz about it? And I think it's obvious because they're not really big stars. But I think a big problem, and I told you about this, Sean. I was listening to Eddie Hearn's book, and it's all right. But one thing he did talk about was kind of his job as a promoter, and I thought it was kind of interesting.
I think we're going to agree here, Rob.
Yeah, he said that the biggest or the most important job that he has is telling the story of the fighters and getting that across to the fans. And I don't think the UFC has even tried here, to be honest. Like, I haven't seen anything on Deiveson Figueiredo or Alex Perez. Valentina Shevchenko a little bit, I guess, but it's kind of like I haven't seen them do it actively for this card. So I just don't feel like the UFC have done a really good job promoting this. And there's only so much you can do with, guys who aren't that popular. But still, I think I don't think the promotion done a great job with this one. Trying to promote.
I agree. As in, not everyone's a Conor McGregor, so you can't promote everyone as if they're a Conor McGregor. Dana was talking shit with Bob Arum this week. I mean, throwing stones in glass houses, those two guys. I'm not even getting into that. But Eddie Hearn's right. As in, not everyone's a Conor McGregor. Not everyone wants to talk. So for the guys who don't talk, you have to maximize what you can get out of them. And I don't think the UFC does that with a lot of guys who aren't big talkers.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give them, they'll very much leave it up to fighters to promote themselves, which is fair enough for the guys who can promote themselves. But for the guys who aren't necessarily as good at it, it's hard when you have a roster that big. The roster's too big. Another argument again.
Yeah.
But put them on these podcasts. Like Deiveson Figueiredo, his English isn't that great.
No. Does he even have English? I'm not even sure.
Yeah. Get him on these podcasts in his own countries, where people can listen to him, can hear his story. Look, English helps as well. We're not going to fuck around here. English helps as well. Get him some basic English, because even the guy, like the Russian guys who don't speak a lot of English, I find it very funny and quite endearing, to be fair, when they're speaking English or trying to speak English and telling these funny stories, or just using these little 3-line quips that they use and stuff. I find it very funny. I think it helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Dana needs to stop talking shit about fighters and do a better job of actually pushing them out there.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't even know this is pay-per-view. It's ridiculous.
I know. Because as you said, you kind of alluded to it. Like, yes, they're not huge stars. They're not Conor McGregor. They're not as flamboyant. They're not as extravagant. They're not big personalities. But they're people. They have some kind of story, whatever that story is. I don't know what the story is because I haven't been told. And, it's your job to go tell me or help me find it out. So, it's a bit of a weird one. Funny comment there by Keenan KTV. My heart goes out to all the people who buy this pay-per-view to show off how much of a hardcore fan they are.
Ah, stop. How many buys is this pay-per-view doing? Like 100? This could easily do less than 100k.
Do you think so? Wow.
Yeah,
It probably could. I don't know. Less than 100k. I'm gonna say, I'll be nice. 150. I don't know if it will now. Just on the UFC name alone.
110 maybe.
But like, to be fair, right?
They're guaranteed 500,000k buys because of the ESPN deal. They don't care.
Yeah. To be fair though, there are some fights on this that I'm interested in, and I'm interested in all the fights as a hardcore fan. It's not that intriguing. Let's start. Deiveson Figueiredo against Alex Perez, main event. Do you have the odds there, Sean?
Yeah, I do.
Cool. You can get them now. Flyweight title. Deiveson Figueiredo, of course, beat Joseph Benavidez twice. First one was a bit of a weird one. He missed weight and stuff like that. Alex Perez. There was some questions over whether Moreno should have got this title fight. But Perez is getting it. For me, I think either one was fine. I didn't have any kind of leaning either way, but I can see the argument. But how do you see this fight going? I know that Alex Perez is a fairly big underdog, and
yeah,
I don't know if Figueiredo has earned the right to be that big of a favourite right now against someone who is, in my opinion, more well-rounded than him, but maybe just doesn't have the finishing ability and credibility just yet that Deiveson Figueiredo has. But what's your thoughts on this, and what's your thoughts on the kind of big gap in prices here?
Yeah, I mean, Deiveson Figueiredo is 1-3, or 1-3, so like a hefty enough favourite.
Yeah,
I kind of agree with you. It's a bit skinny for me now, 1-3. Alex Perez 5-2. I couldn't put you off a poke at that. I mean, he's definitely the up and comer here. He's looked good. I think the one thing about Figueiredo here is he probably has that equalizer at flyweight with that power.
Yeah, definitely. But like, if you look back at his last fight against, maybe not the last one, I'm not sure if it was the first.
Both guys have made weight as well. Just
have they? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, in case one of them.
If you look back at the fight with Joseph Benavidez, I'm not sure if it was the first one or the second one, but Benavidez was landing some nice leg kicks that were really effective, and they were hurting Figueiredo. Now, if you go back and look at Perez's last fight, he actually finished the fight with leg kicks, and he's really good in there. He also has takedowns. He has a wrestling background, and Deiveson's takedown defense, I can't remember what it is, but it's okay. But I could see him getting on top. Like, I just see Perez being very well rounded here, could easily get finished, and I definitely favour Deiveson Figueiredo. Like, my pick would be Deiveson Figueiredo to win, but I do think there's something here on Perez. I think he's a good fighter. Like, his only loss is to Joseph Benavidez in the UFC, and that's his only loss since 2016. He's a good guy here.
Yeah, it is very interesting as well that Perez is coming off Dana White's contender, and I can't say I'm surprised to see him accelerated. I think we'll see the same in a lot of divisions where guys show some promise. I think we're going to see the UFC populated massively with guys in that contender series just because they're on cheap ass contracts. UFC can fill cards up with those kind of guys. So I think that's the way we're going.
Yeah.
That's a different point. But yeah, I think Figueiredo's a fair favourite. I don't have an issue with being favourite. 1-3 is probably a bit skinny for me. So yeah, if I was having a bet on anything, it'd be Perez here.
Yeah, I'd probably avoid it in any case. Like, I probably wouldn't bet on either. But yeah. Co-main event. Jesus, talk about favourites. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia. As you said, you alluded to it. Not many fighters enter fights in MMA as this big of a favourite.
I've never seen a fight this.
And to be fair, it's probably warranted. Jennifer Maia, to me, hasn't been that impressive. The win over Jojo Calderwood was fine, but I thought Jojo had plenty of chances in that fight to win it. I just don't think the competition is there for Valentina Shevchenko, and I think she's an excellent fighter too. But I just think that the depth in this division is very shallow.
Yeah, it's a bit like a lot of these women's divisions. It's thin enough, and once the champion has kind of beaten 2 or 3 contenders, you are kind of scrounging around looking for a contender to give it to. Yeah, look, Shevchenko at 1-20. I mean, you're not going to get that rate in the banks, but like, it's not for me, that kind of risk and reward. But I can't really justify backing Maia because I don't think she's going to win. But I also could justify backing her because she's an insane price. Like, I know that makes no sense, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's essentially putting money into a slot machine and
yeah,
pulling the fucking lever just to see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see her winning, as you said. I think it'd be,
I
be
think Valentina
insane if
runs
she
through.
won it. Absolutely runs through her, yeah. Gee, what's next for Valentina after this? I don't see much. The Amanda Nunes fight, maybe. But
Seen
yeah.
that twice already as well, I know, but I know the decisions are
Yeah.
questionable enough, but
Yeah. Anyways, we both pick Valentina Shevchenko in that one. Mike Perry versus Tim Means. I think this is a good fight.
interesting one.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So we were speaking about this offline, Sean, not on the show, and I was saying
Because we do talk offline
yeah,
as well.
yeah, we do. I was saying that I don't fancy Tim Means here, but I do like his price, and I think Mike Perry is, you know who Mike Perry is. Mike Perry is a bit all over the shop, and that was kind of increased even today when he said he wasn't going to make weight. Now I don't know if he has made weight since or has even weighed in. I don't know. If you can check that, Sean, that'd be brilliant. But
yeah, I have Twitter open here. So
Yeah.
Shogun and Paul Craig, both midweight.
yeah,
Main event, co-main, both midweight. Sorry, go on, and I'll keep looking here.
yeah. So yeah, Mike Perry, I don't like. I think he's a good fighter, very good finisher, way better than Tim Means in that sense. But I think Tim Means actually, as a fighter, technically, I think he's a better striker. Not as much power, and that's the equalizer that Mike Perry has. Wrestling is probably a wash, and grappling maybe Tim Means a little bit, but not too much. But then when you look back at Mike Perry's last fight, where by all accounts he wasn't really prepared for that fight either, the one against who did he fight? Mickey Gall, wasn't it? Mickey Gall isn't great either, but Mike Perry looked pretty damn good in that fight, and he was not prepared. So for that reason, I wouldn't be too I wouldn't like Means too much here. And I think if all things are equal and Mike Perry had a full camp, or I guess an organized camp, I'd probably be happy to pick Mike Perry, because I just think he has that equalizer. I just think he'll catch Tim Means, because Tim Means gets caught in a lot of fights. But I don't know, I kind of like Tim Means here a little bit.
Yeah, for me here, the play on Tim Means is all it's price based, and it's how much of a like what in God's name has Mike Perry's camping. Like, the man is, Jesus Christ, he's all over the place. I mean, we've seen some comments there about he didn't domestically abuse his woman that time. Jesus Christ.
Time,
like, he doesn't have. I don't think he has an MMA guy in his corner at all, does he? His girlfriend's there. His friend is there.
I don't think so. Even the lad from Reddit isn't there. He might have been able to give him some pointers.
Yeah, as in Darren Till's not there, which is disappointing. I'd have stayed up just for that. Yeah. Look, the Tim Means play here is all just on the stuff surrounding Mike Perry, and there's an awful lot of question marks. So
yeah. Do you pick Tim Means as your pick, or is it more so a betting pick?
That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, if I was having a bet, it's Tim Means all day, I think, yeah. But Mike Perry should win the fight. Yeah.
Like, Tim Means is kind of like, we speak about this a lot with some fighters where they're like highly inconsistent. I don't like picking them. But I definitely have some money on Tim Means in a double that might surprise a lot of people, because you shouldn't be betting on this guy in 2020 at all. You should be betting on him since 2016 or something, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah, I don't know. I'll pick Mike Perry as me pick, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of questions there. And let me jump into the chat here really quick, because John C said Till as Mike Perry's cornerman would have boosted this pay-per-view by 50k boys, just to see if he'd throw in the towel in the first 10 seconds. Yes.
I agree. It would have.
Yeah, it would have been great. What's your thoughts on the whole like commission and like Mike Perry's corner? Should they be like doing a little bit more to say, here, Mike, you should have at least someone competent that if you're in trouble they'll throw in the towel or something? I don't know how that works, but
I don't necessarily think so, to be fair. I mean, we've seen it before where managers are in a corner, and I mean, I don't see too much of a difference between having a manager in a corner and one of your mates, unless a manager,
your heavily pregnant missus.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's a tough one. Honestly, I don't have a massive issue with him having who he wants in his corner. I think the bigger issue here is the UFC shouldn't be allowing him to fight at the minute. He is not in a good place. There's a lot of stories around what he's been up to.
Yeah.
I think that man needs some help, to be honest.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move on. I think he needs some help too. Ticking time bomb, in my opinion, in certain ways.
He's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, unfortunately. Caitlin Chukagian versus Cynthia Calvillo. Fun fact, if you didn't listen to the podcast back in the day, I picked Cynthia Calvillo to be like the breakout star of 2019, I believe it was. Was that right? Or was it I think it was 2019. I can't remember when it was. And unfortunately that didn't happen. I think she got popped for something, didn't she? Some like weed or something, and or was it weed? I don't know what it was. She got popped for something. But good fighter in my opinion. Facing Caitlin Chukagian, who only recently fought for a belt 3 fights ago. Lost her last fight, and I think that's probably part of the reason why she's a decent underdog in this one. I think she is.
Hefty enough underdog.
Yeah, I think that's part of it because before that fight, if you can recall, she was talking about maybe settling down, starting a family and quitting fighting, which is never a good idea to say before a fight. And then second was she got finished in the 4th round by Jessica Andrade, who has looked great in the division, but also like it was a shot to the body and she just kind of crumbled. Yeah. I think that's partially the reason why here. And also Calvillo is a good fighter too, but really hefty underdog Chukagian. Just considering she's been a title contender is kind of strange.
Yeah, I think women's MMA is definitely a good betting opportunity there. Calvillo at 2-5 again, it's a bit short for me. I think if you're looking for the angle here, you're probably looking at Chukagian at 15-8.
Yeah. I would pick Cynthia Calvillo. As I said, really I think she's an excellent fighter. Unbelievable grappling. Some of the submissions she catches, just unbelievable to watch. Really, really good. So I'll pick Calvillo here. I wouldn't be really too much interested in a bet on Chukagian, but that price is there, and that's fucking quite big and probably a little bit too big. So maybe I should. Okay. The other part of my double. Mauricio Shogun Rua versus Paul Craig. Sean, I'm betting on Mauricio Shogun Rua in 2020. What am I doing?
Yeah, I actually agree with you here. So you said it to me, and like, right. So there was a lot of elements to why this bet has happened. Okay?
Yes, yeah.
One of them is it's Paul Craig.
Yes, and no offense to Paul Craig, but
it's Paul Craig.
It's Paul Craig.
Yeah. Shogun has looked okay.
Yeah, he looked. Like his knees are dead. Like, I mean, I don't know how that guy.
They're gone.
Yeah, they're gone completely. So you have a guy fighting without any knees. So there's that. So that's a red flag. But they also fought. When was that?
I believe didn't Craig catch him in one of those Hail Marys that he does, didn't he?
No, this was a draw. So yeah, it was the draw.
Oh, sorry, it was a split decision draw.
Split draw. And like Paul Craig came out good in the 1st round. He looked pretty good. I was actually striking where he looked good because Shogun is like a punching bag these days because he just stands in front of people. But then he couldn't put him away even with his subs, which is really his game. And then I think Shogun arguably probably could have won the fight. It depends on whether you say 10-8 for the 1st round. It depends. But I thought Shogun came on good late, which is weird for a guy who again has no knees. So like I just feel like that one was close enough. Shogun, I feel, has the punching power to put Craig out, even though Craig has a good chin. And based on the 1st one, I don't see him getting caught in the submission. And I think he might have won the 1st one. So fuck it. Why not?
Steve G just said it in the chat there. He's like, why not? And I think that's kind of some of the logic here as well. Is fuck it, why not? 6-4. I mean, whoever wants to be back in Paul Craig as a favourite.
That's the thing. That's part of the reason. Like, I don't know. I thought there might be a little bit of I love Shogun from back in the day here. There might be a little bit in there because that always happens, and you always get burned on them. Like you're like, oh, this guy was a great fighter. Yeah, but like now he's completely shot. But we'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. Steve G, Shogun still got it. Yeah, I don't know now. But we're going for it, Sean. We're going for it.
Yeah, look, I've seen worse bets.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen worse bets. Come on.
Yeah, look, it's it's probably one that I'm not personally going to bet on, but 6-4 is a price that's there to be had. So
yeah. here's the fight that I think a lot of people will be interested in. It's Brandon Royval against Brandon.
Yes.
Just two Brandons. Brandon Moreno. The Battle of the Brandons. Really good fight at flyweight. One of the better fights you can make at flyweight. Winner probably gets a title fight. Sean, how does this one go? Who do you see winning this one?
Yeah, it probably is one of the most exciting fight in the card, or the most well matched fight in the card, maybe.
Yeah.
Brandon Moreno, 1-2, 1.5 favorite. Probably a fair favorite.
Yeah,
again.
fair.
Rival, 13-8. Again, another price. There's an awful lot of underdogs that you can justify backing on this card.
Yeah, there is. And they might backfire completely on you, but like there's something there.
Again, there's some value plays to be had. Again, 13-8 on Brandon Royval. If anyone wanted it, couldn't put them off it.
Yeah. And Royval is a really good fighter, and he's been on a bit of a hot streak as well. And for the flyweight division, he stands out because he finishes a lot of his fights. Like, look at his last 4 fights. Now, one of them was 2 of them were in the LFA, but still they were against some decent guys. Joby Sanchez, who's not bad. He wins that by armbar in the first round. Nate Williams wins that by armbar in the first round. Tim Elliott wins that by arm triangle in the second round. That was in the UFC. And then Kai Kara France, who's a pretty damn good fighter, he guillotines him in the second round. So, like, this guy is a finisher. And at flyweight, you see a lot of scrambles. And I think Brandon Moreno will want to keep this striking, which I think Royval can do well there too. Probably a little bit outmatched, but can do well there. But if this gets into a scrambling situation, I wouldn't be surprised to see Brandon Royval catch something. I would not be surprised. And, you know.
Yeah, as in, it's the flyweights are wild, man. They are a lot of fun. So yeah, Royval, this is a fight. This is probably the only fight in the card that I would want to watch if I was staying up, which I'm not. Yeah, I'll take Royval here, I think.
Yeah, very nice. I'm going to take Moreno, but very nice. I like it. Let me jump into the chat, make sure we're not missing anything. We're going for another 15 minutes or so, lads, or actually a little bit more, about 20, 25 minutes. Yeah, like the video, do all that stuff will really help us out. We're going to try to do these going forward on a Friday, I think, so make sure you join us on every Friday. Tell your friends. John C, there, I love that. Shogun still got it. We're all on the Shogun train. John C, there's the smallest chance where you could see Shogun versus Glover Teixeira by the end of 2021 or 2022. Do you think that would ever happen?
Glover's look good, man.
Yeah, and I think Glover has looked unbelievable. I think that's a mismatch at this point in their careers.
Yes, as in Shogun needs to get his act together if he wants that fight.
Yeah, Shogun needs to get a few more knee surgeries if he wants. No, I don't think so, to be honest. I think, which is weird because Glover, from what I remember, I felt a few fights ago, I was like, oh, Glover's done, isn't he? And he's just had he's just had this resurgence, and he's looked
put
really
a beat
good.
down on Anthony Smith.
And you know the thing about Glover as well is, in some of these fights, he's taken some big shots and he hasn't gone out. Yeah. Like, his chin is still there, which is crazy for, 40-year-old man. Guy's a fucking beast.
I've just seen that Finn Harps are beating Shamrock Rovers, so that's some good news.
Oh, very good.
That nobody else cares about.
Do we have some Irish people in the chat? Maybe they do. Here's an interesting one, right? So you have Joaquin Buckley coming off the KO of the year. We're calling it right now, yeah?
Yeah.
It's done. Fights Jordan Wright, who is a bit of a professional can crusher, but he's 11-0 against Joaquin Buckley, who I feel like he's a great fighter, right? He's a good fighter, but I feel like his price has inflated or deflated, whatever way you want to say it, greatly because of contracted by the amazing KO that he had. I still think he wins the fight, by the way, but just saying.
Yeah, again, insert quote from me about backing the underdog just because the value's there. Same thing again. It's like, again, Joaquin Buckley probably should be good enough to win this fight.
I think he should.
Price is too short because of that KO. If his price is too short, then you're looking at the underdog for a bit of value. So, same again.
There you go. Professional gambler, Sean. Not professional, but
yeah, professional degenerate.
But yeah, I do. Steve G just said, "Oh no, come on, Rovers."
nah, Steve, come on, man, you're better than
that. John Delaney versus Brian Kerr in the octagon. Who gets your bets?
Brian Kerr pucks John Delaney around.
100%.
Oh, Brian Kerr pucks him around. It's not even a contest. Brian Kerr pucks him around.
Yeah, within a round.
Yeah. Kerr grew up in the terraces at St. Pat's. Like, John Delaney wouldn't know a smack if it hit him in the face.
There you go. Again, we're we're losing viewers, I think, because they're like, who the fuck is John Delaney and who the fuck is this guy? But it's a good fight. Well, it's not a good fight. It's one-sided. Anyway, I picked Joaquin Buckley in that fight, but Jesus, that's a guy who's 11-0 again. Fights a lot of cans, but there's something there. Antonina Shevchenko against Ariane Lipski. I think this is a well-matched fight. I think it's a good fight, but I also think that, again, I think because of her name, because her sister, who, let's be honest, is the way better fighter of the family, is in the main event. I think Antonina's price is a little bit, like, way too short. I think there's a bit of a pick'em.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
Value in the underdog.
Yeah.
Arlene Lipski, you can get at 5-4. It's not a massively. It's probably priced like a pick'em in MMA, to be honest. When you take
I guess. Yeah.
8-13. Yeah, on Antonina.
She was a bit bigger though. I think Lipski, bigger price yesterday or day before. I think she might have shortened a little bit. But yeah, like I think Lipski can win this fight. Like, she likes to strike, as does Shevchenko, but Shevchenko isn't really that big of a puncher. I don't see her really getting a finish. Lipski is tough. She done really well in KSW. Her UFC career didn't start that well. But I think she probably has a better grappling than Shevchenko. So if it does go there, which is kind of unlikely, I think she has a good advantage there. So we'll see what happens. But I like Lipski in this one. I'm gonna go Lipski.
Nice. Yeah. I'll take Shevchenko, I think.
Yeah. Stage G also saying, yeah, everyone forgets what Holland did to him, and he is talking about the Kevin Holland Joaquin Buckley fight, right?
Yeah, Kevin Holland beat him comfortably. So
yeah, so Kevin Holland's an awkward fuck though. I'd say he's an awkward fuck to fight. Just so rangy and lanky. Will you be doing an end of the year roundup, fighter of the year, card of the year? Yeah, why not? We'll do it.
I think we should. Yeah, why not? Around Christmas time, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I keep forgetting how close to the end of the year we are, but we're close.
Very close.
Nicholas Dalby, Daniel Rodriguez. I like Nicholas Dalby,
man.
but he's getting old. He's been in quite a few wars, and quite recently too. Daniel Rodriguez has some goddamn power. Dalby kind of, he had trouble with the old drink, and I think his MMA career kind of got derailed a little bit because of that. But he's back here. He's a tough fighter. He might stay in there, but I feel like Daniel Rodriguez should win this fight. How are you feeling on this one, Sean? I know you love Nicholas Dalby.
I do. I love watching Nicholas Dalby, but I think you're right. He's getting a little bit old. Again, I'm going to go down the same old route. There's a bit of value in Nicholas Dalby's price. He's a fairly hefty underdog.
Yeah.
He's just below 5-2. I couldn't put you off it. I'm saying the same things over and over again here.
You should bet all the underdogs on this card.
Yeah, it's been... Yeah.
You hit on a few of them, you'd be grand.
Yeah. Daniel Rodriguez 1-3. Look, I'm not going to be betting on something that short. I don't like that price in this particular fight. I'm probably not going to bet on anything on this card, to be honest, but I do think there's some value in the underdogs, and I know you agree.
Yeah.
So
bet on Shogun all day. Alan Jouban against Jared Gooden. Again, I think this is another one where, Sean, you're going to be repeating yourself, because Alan Jouban, even though he's like, let's be honest, he's a gorgeous looking man, right? He's a fucking model. He's nearly 40, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is 40, is he? I don't know. Sure. 38. He's 38. He's been in some tough fights, and he's coming up against this guy, and he's doing like UFC commentary and all that kind of thing. I think he still does his model and stuff, so he has a lot going on. He's coming up against Jordan Roy. Sorry, not Jordan. Is it Gooden? Jared Gooden. Who, like, I mean, skill for skill, I think Alan Jouban should win this fight, but a guy making his UFC debut, dangerous, has a lot of finishes on his record against a guy who maybe has one foot out the door. Come on.
Yeah, again, it's not a betting fight for me. 4-6 on Alan Jouban, 6-5 on Jared Gooden. It's pretty much priced like a pick'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are you picking?
I'll take Jouban, but not a betting fight for me.
Yeah, I'll take Jouban as well. I was trying to like get you in there to pick Gooden, but I think he has a shot here. This one, I've seen a lot of people talk about this one again to talk about prices. What's the price on Kyle Dawkins versus Justin Stolfitz?
Kyle Dawkins is a pretty heavy favourite. He's 3-10.
Wow. That's a bit mad. Like, Dawkins lost to Brendan Allen, who was a good prospect, who obviously lost recently, but good prospect.
You actually can make a case. I'm just looking at the card again. Sorry for interrupting you there. You can actually make a case for backing every underdog.
I think you can.
Every single one of them.
Yeah. Man, I think there's a good shot here, especially for the price. From what I've heard, I remember I seen this guy Stolfus on the Contender Series. A bit of a disappointing performance. Not performance, just disappointing ending. The guy got his arm injured in a slam. But, you know, that's his doing. You know, it's the guy's job not to get injured while trying to defend the slam. But from what we've seen from him, has a ton of submissions on his record. He has a twister in his fight before the UFC. So, like, you're not hitting twisters if you're not a decent grappler. And apparently he's a really, really, really good wrestler. And Kyle Dawkins, like, I don't think he's a submission guy as well, but I don't know if he's that great of a wrestler. He has been taken down before. Again, I would say this is probably should be a pick'em, to be honest. I don't see how it's so wide on this one.
I think this is what we were talking about off air the other day. It's where, like, the lower down these cards you go, the more opportunity there is for a bit of value. We don't know a massive amount really about either guy. So yeah, you get these swings in prices, and I think if you want to have a go at that 9-4 about Dustin, absolutely, more power to you.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that, to be honest. Also, I think I don't know if this. Do you think this might be taken into account sometimes? Because it's kind of taken into account with Anthony and Shevchenko, but Kyle Dawkins, his brother, his first name is absolutely leaving me, but he's on a good streak. Chris Dawkins, isn't it? Is it Chris Dawkins? I can't remember who it is, but
I think it does come into play with
Chris Dawkins. Yeah, Chris Dawkins is on a good streak. Only fought there last month. Won by KO really quickly. And then won by KO in August as well. I don't know if they take that into account. They're like, oh, you know, they're brothers. They must both be good. Do you know what I mean? Or like they're training together. I don't know. I wonder.
No sign of Mike Perry at the scales yet, anyway.
Oh, really? Jesus. The opener on the main card is a weird fight. So you have Lewis Cosi, who was on the Contender Series and won very quickly, very decisively, just like every single fight that he's had, I believe. Let me just check his record here, just to confirm that. Lewis Cosi, of course, he has I think he's a twin brother, or else he's just a brother, who also goes on to the UFC through the Contender Series. Yeah, so he has TKOs or one submission or two submissions, all in the first round, and most of them under 30 seconds. He's 7-0. So we haven't seen a lot from this guy. He's just very explosive, gets it done really, really quickly. But then he's against a guy who I've never heard of, I don't think. Sasha Palatnikov, yeah. Who was 5-2, and he's fought in AFC, UAE Warriors. Like, where did they get this guy from?
This fight gets a big strong no from me betting wise. Although the thing is, with a fight like this, again, I couldn't put you up back in the underdog because we don't know anything about either guy. Yeah,
if we have one guy who is 7-0, excellent, but like finishes like within 30 seconds. What happens if it goes over 2 minutes? What happens if it goes to the second round?
Yeah.
Did he have a line for like this to go to decision or something? Because that's got to be decent. So I'm for that.
Yeah, you can have the fight to go to. Will the fight go to distance? Yeah, 11-4.
It's all right.
It's big enough to have a play on. Like so.
It is. Like, why not? Cool. That's that whole card. There's your picks. There's your bets. Go make some money or lose some money, whatever you want to do. Jump into some more questions. Quickly get them in. We're going to leave now in a minute. And as I said, we're going to try to do this every Friday if we can. So make sure you join us every Friday. Usually a little bit later. We went early today because we have to do things, and we also wanted to go head to head with Luke Thomas and thing on Morning Combat. You know what I mean?
Even though we smack Luke Thomas around.
Yeah, we got to put them in their place. Mark O'Toole, will Mac and Dustin fight with no audience? we kind of had this discussion. It seems like I read that Dana White mentioned something about an audience, but I don't know how true that is. So my bet will be I'm gonna go Fight Island with a load of rich guys in the crowd.
Yeah, I think if they're fans, I think it's going to be that kind of audience where a premium audience. It's not going to be me or you in the crowd. So
definitely not. Thoughts on Shimiev opening as a betting favourite over Leon Edwards? Yeah, it's mad.
Can't have it. Can't have it. Like he might well go and spark Leon. I don't know, but for all we know on him so far, I think him as a favourite is
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is silly as well, but you see like his UFC game stats and all.
No, what
like
are they?
they're like unbelievable. Like I think it's like 4-star striking, 3.5-star grappling, 5-star wrestling, something like that. You know, basically in line with most of the best fighters in the game.
Yeah,
as far as I've seen. Crazy.
They've just pulled that out of their arse, haven't they?
Yeah, but like, how do you rate someone like that? We don't know. Do you know what I mean?
You don't. Yeah.
Like again, for all we know, as you said, he could either go in, shit the bed, or he could go in, maul Edwards, and then go on and win a title soon. You know, either could happen. So, again, wasn't he your pick as the one to watch this year?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I had a bit of help from Noel, so Noel knows a bit more about him than we do.
Yeah, still. Steve G, do you think Jones will get the heavyweight belt? I think he will. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's very possible that John Jones will be the heavyweight champion.
Yeah. I think he's too skilled for a lot of guys up there, and even the better ones are getting up there in age. Like Stipe is up there in age. Cormier is gone. Francis could be interesting, but I think Jones is a far better fighter.
Francis is only interesting because if he lands, he'll probably put him to sleep.
He'll probably fucking put him into orbit, basically. Absolutely crazy. And let me just jump into the questions to make sure I'm not missing anything from last time. Not last time, sorry, from the community tab. I don't think I am. But yeah, any recommendations this week, Sean? Something to watch, something to listen to, something to read?
Started watching The Sopranos. It's pretty good.
I've never actually watched The Sopranos, funny enough.
Yeah, started watching it. It's pretty good. Finished a book about Marcelo Bielsa, who's the Leeds United manager. It's very good. It's called what is it called? A Life of Madness or something like that. Marcelo Bielsa. But yeah, it's very good. If you look up Marcelo Bielsa in Amazon, you'll get it. It's very good. Really interesting. Any recommendations?
Not really. Like I've been watching The Mandalorian, the new season, and I have like an episode left. I mean, it's been released weekly. I think there might be an episode tonight or something, but I think I might be an episode behind. But it's been pretty good. Watch the first season if you haven't already. But yeah, haven't been watching movies around recently, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've just been watching sport as well, to be honest.
Yeah. Football is back. Normal football is back away from that international bollocks. How bad are Ireland? Holy fuck! Unbelievable stuff.
Oh, don't stand me, Rob.
Yeah, it's so bad. It was. Do you know what it was? It was like I watched the first match, kind of like hesitantly, and then I was like, oh, I'll watch this one a bit. Turned it off halfway through, and then I just didn't bother the rest of them.
Yeah, we've gone 11 hours now at the goal, and I am ashamed to say I've sat through every fucking minute of that 11 hours.
Oh my God, Sean. What are you doing?
It's not good, man.
Last question, I think. Arkansas's new movie, Netflix, is good. Great stuff. Sorry, Andrew, you're late, but this will be replayed so you can watch it afterwards. But every Friday, join us. Last question was from the community tab. Aaron Rabbit. Has there ever been a bigger gap between a champion and the rest of the division than Valentina? That's a good question.
Good question. And I was thinking about this because you don't even see John Jones hasn't been 1-20 in his fights.
No.
So arguably, yeah, there hasn't.
Yeah. The closest probably maybe was DJ at one point.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't think he even touched that kind of prices. And I know like you can't always go by betting prices because, you know, it doesn't work like that.
But it's a good gauge, I think.
It's a good gauge. But even in terms of like thinking, will she lose to somebody or will they lose to somebody, whoever they are? I don't think I've ever been as unconvinced by contenders against the champion than here.
Yeah.
And it's not great.
Yeah, I agree.
But here we go. Jennifer Moya wins this weekend.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. Anyways, we'll leave it there. And I've still like Bill from fucking RTE football coverage. We'll leave it there. So
We'll leave it there. So
yeah, we'll leave it there. Sean, pleasure as always. Enjoy your weekend.
Cheers, Rob.
And I'm sure we will chat later. And then of course tomorrow. Actually, is it an early card? No.
Oh, is it? Fuck. No.
Bollocks.
Stand up pay a few times, man.
Okay. I'll be watching on Sunday morning. So, all right. See you later.
Take it easy. Yeah, normal pay-per-view times, man.